It's the final edition of Hockey Night in Canada before Christmas, and here at Rogers Arena, both the Canucks and Flames desperate to feel better about themselves in the festive season. Canucks' 5-game slide has left them with a perilous hold on a playoff spot, and the Flames, with 7 straight regulation losses, are on the outside looking in. Oh, Canada is next.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise, remove your hats, and join Mark Donnelly in the singing of our national anthem, Oh Canada.
Oh Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons' command. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for
Well, the big selling point to this game, it's simple. Someone has to win. Dave Randorf is in the broadcast booth. Mike Johnson's at ice level. Dave.
Thank you, Scott. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Vancouver, where, as Scott mentioned, we are 5 days away from Christmas, but there will be no glad tidings in here tonight. Both teams feeling extra grinchy, trying to bump long losing streaks. There is Jonas Hiller, who starts for the 2nd consecutive night. He worked last night against the Dallas Stars at home, allowing 2 goals against on 21 shots. He starts on back-to-back nights because Kari Ramo not quite 100%. He's been battling a flu bug. Down at the other end, the last time Ryan Miller played was 1 week ago tonight. 5 goals against on 23 shots against the New York Rangers. He has lost 3 in a row, and he admitted yesterday he has got to get back on the right page. The referees are John Hebert and Chris Lee. Jay Sherers and Shane Heyer will work the lines tonight. The Vancouver Canucks have lost 5 in a row. The Calgary Flames have lost 7 straight. Vancouver starts the Sedin line. There's Radim Vrbata, who bangs that puck into the Calgary zone, where it's met by TJ Brodie. Brodie and Giordano, as usual, starting again for Bob Hartley as the Canucks go to work in the offensive zone. This line has been quiet. No points in its last 3 games. Back to the line for Tanev. His drive right on, and Hiller makes his first stop of the game. Comes out in front, got past Daniel, and the Flames skated away. Jones to Backlund. There's a shot on Miller, and he makes his first stop on Curtis Lindblom. Here is Edler, gets to center and beyond, and fires the puck back into the Calgary zone. Mid of the corner where Chris Russell reaches for it, but Jannik Hansen was there first along the side boards. Hansen elevated to the 2nd line tonight for the Vancouver Canucks, along with Chris Higgins and Nick Bonino. Alex Burrows been bumped down to the 4th line. Things like that happen, Mike, when you haven't won in a while.
You haven't won, you haven't scored. There's got to be changes, but Desjardins likes the versatility in his lineup.
Here's a chance. One shot from Higgins, and it sails over the net. Second attempt from a sharp angle. Hiller was ready for that. The late offside call allows the Flames to regroup and reset from the back end. Chris Russell with a good pass up the middle to Joe Colborne. In the high slot, passes off to Mason Raymond, the former Vancouver Canuck. And he can't center it out in front. Here is Weber. Yannick Weber gathering speed, takes the hit, but got the puck away. Lyndon Bay goes after it against Derek Englund. Englund on his backhand off the glass and all the way down the ice. Just the second meeting between these two division rivals. They last met on the opening night of the season in Calgary, a game the Canucks won 4-2. They'll meet 4 times this regular season. Here is Tanev backing up in his own zone, goes across to Spiza. Spiza long lead pass to the far side for Burrows, loads it, fires a slap shot, and Hiller got that with a blocker.
Vancouver obviously heeding their coach's message. Shoot from everywhere.
And behind the play, Dorsett is going to go with Derek Englund. Told you these teams have garlic in their soul tonight.
Look out. See Englund try to wrap Dorsett's head on the way down there. That's some sportsmanship. Knew he was going to be in a vulnerable spot, trying to protect his head from getting to the ice. When we sat here and warm up, Ryan McGrattan was out and warm up, Bollig was out and warm up. They were taking line rushes. Knowing what happened last year, we thought there might be a little bit more of this, but Englund and Dorsett just come together in behind the net. Little push, little shove. Both team guys looking to spark their team. Try to end these long losing skids.
Neither one of these teams have won a game since December 4th. Calgary beat Colorado that night in overtime, and Vancouver won at Pittsburgh. And it's been a long wait since.
Here you see the sportsmanship. Look at Dorsett. He knows he's going down. He tries to protect the back of his head. That's the kind of code those guys have.
2 guys that are new to this Calgary-Vancouver rivalry, Englund and Dorsett in the box. Both serving fighting majors. And here comes Henrik in on the line. Henrik swirls back, drops it off for Daniel. Daniel ran into Brody. TJ Brody was a +16. That is 7th overall in the NHL. Here comes Marcus Granlund straight up the middle, drops it off. Turgenev with a shot right on, and Miller makes the stop.
Now it's Daniel and TJ Brody. Has got into these guys in this holiday season. Let's take a look at Willie Desjardins. His first bit of a challenge here in his rookie year coaching the Vancouver Canucks, and he's trying to switch the lines up, but he's trying to stay positive and calm. If they do the right things more often than not, they'll get the results they need. But what they really need is a strong performance out of that guy right there, Ryan Miller. He has not been good in December. He has not been good on Saturday nights. He's got to find a way to have a game tonight.
Told you about his Saturday night a week ago against the Rangers. The Saturday before that, he allowed 4 goals in Toronto and got the hook. Here's Ryan Stanton. Out from behind his own net, can't get it past Hudler. Kucherov can't contain the puck, and he comes just outside the line. Kevin Bieksa steps in. Bieksa with a wrist shot into traffic. Higgins is on it, wraps it around, rebound for Bonino. And he came close, but Hiller down with the pads, knocks it away. Up for Sean Monahan, in towards the net. Monahan with 11 goals on the season.
Vancouver Canucks have struggled to score in this losing streak across the board, including the second line. Chris Higgins with a wraparound. Nick Bonino got 1 goal in 17. Has a rebound attempt, but Hiller's got the bottom of the net seal, looking to get that pad flat. If anything's got to be open, it's got to be between his legs, as Hiller really does a nice job of sealing the ice with his pads against the post. And much like Ryan Miller on the other end, Calgary looking for a little bit more out of their goalies, try to break this skid.
Jonas Hiller, he has won 6 straight, hasn't won a game since November 18th, Mike. Joel Colburn recently back into the lineup. The Flames got a lot of their forwards back. Mason Raymond was out, Stajan was out, Colburn was out. That coincided with a 7-game losing streak. Getting some guys back into the mix.
Offside!
You heard the call there from the linesman, so Calgary skates it away. There's Chris Russell, the top shot blocker of the NHL. Up to Josh Jurich. Jurich's snapshot off a stick and in behind the net. Near corner it comes. Here's Raymond. Raymond, a former second-round pick of the Canucks. Back to Wideman, corrals that puck in his feet and dumps it back in. Colburn now. Trying to get it around Lucas Biza. And a penalty coming up against Biza as he trips up Colburn. Colburn back and forth, down low. Out of the corner to Wideman, and he drifts one all the way down. Look at that! This is going in the net! The Calgary Flames put one in their own net! And it's 1-0 Vancouver. Oh boy.
There's the penalty on Smiza with the hook down below, but more importantly, Dennis Wideman tries to go D-to-D, catches Raymond in a bad spot, and my goodness. If you're Calgary, you're thinking, are you kidding me? Could this possibly happen to us? And if you're Vancouver, you needed some offense, you needed a break. Well, you got it right there.
We'll call that fifth line scoring.
And I think right now Calgary's trying to argue that perhaps someone in Vancouver maybe got a piece of that puck on the pass back to the point.
They're looking at something here.
It was Wideman trying to go off the boards, handcuff Raymond just a bit. And it's a protracted conversation right now. Veteran referees out there, they're on the phone right now, checking to see.
When it rains, it pours, doesn't it? When you have lost 7 straight, and those are all in regulation, by the way. They have not picked up even 1 point during this 7-game losing streak. Here's another look at perhaps the opening goal of the game.
Yeah, I mean, it was close. He was getting challenged by the goal line, and keen observers. Wideman slides down below, and it's right here. The question is, did anyone touch it with Wideman right here? Is that touch the puck, or is that stick on stick of Yannick Weber? And we're gonna have to get a closer look at that. Hey, Hiller leaving the net, of course. Got a power play offensive zone time coming up, and right down the chute. Unbelievable. But as they take a look in Toronto, if that puck got a piece of Weber's stick on the way in, and
there's Bob Hartley, who this week was given a 2-year contract extension when his team had lost 6 in a row, and he probably just cannot believe this start.
Well, everybody's interested down in my little box here, Dave, as West Agents hanging over the boards. Nick Bonino asking to see the replay. Does it actually go straight in clean? And we'll get a better idea of it here. See Wideman drop down.
Oh, I think he gets a piece of it.
I think Weber touches it before Wideman passes it. But I don't think he touches it on the pass. He might got a glancing blow on the first poke check, but Wideman maintained control, so the play continues.
Right.
But on the actual pass, I do not think Weber impacted the puck. And if you're Calgary, you're thinking right now, really? When it rains, it pours, as Brian Burke is up top, as he's spent many years here in Vancouver watching. One more look at it. I think when Wideman initially gets the handoff right here from Colborne, I think Weber just gets a piece of it right there, but I don't think that pass counts.
Goal.
He never had control. That must be the ruling as you put it out, Mike.
But,
sorry, he did have control when Weber did touch it.
That's right. But I think had Weber glanced off his stick, it would not have counted on the pass. But it was the fact that it touched Weber touched the puck when Wideman still had full possession, and he did not impact the pass. And that is what Jean Hebert is explaining to Bob Hartley, Marty Jelena. And they got to stick with it because they are right back onto the power play,
Right.
chance to even things up.
There is a power play here. We'll wait for the announcement in the building as to who gets the goal.
Someone's going to get lucky with that goal. Usually it's the guy who was closest to the puck, which would be Yannick Weber.
And there's a quick whistle, so the faceoff will be down inside the Calgary blue line. Calgary's power play. I beg your pardon. What is the faceoff's coming down inside the line here?
They were saying that might have been offside.
Right, sorry. So the power play for Calgary, first of the night, they're 13th overall, 8th on the road. Vancouver's penalty killing, excellent, 4th overall in the NHL. Here's Goodrow on top for TJ Brodie. Passes off, back and forth with Giordano. In there, lots of traffic in front of Miller, and Tanev battling for the puck, can't find it again. That bank pass, and it gets past Brodie again. They are giving the goal to Yannick Weber.
Yep. Guy closest to the Calgary Flame when he shot it in the net.
Here's Jerry Hudler having an excellent season for the Flames. 30 points in 33 games. Back to the line, it's Giordano. 9 goals in the season for him. Brodie across, up top, Giordano, wrist shot, and he just missed on the far post. Monahan battles for that puck. Higgins gets there and swats it down the ice.
Vancouver's got to find a way to stop those seam passes. Giordano, Brodie, Hudler can't let that puck go through the box.
Flames into the zone. Colborne stops up. His backhand feed into the corner. A little late for Glencross. The Canucks got a piece of it. And here's Hansen up to Mathias. John Mathias went to his backhand and couldn't get a shot away. Weidman was back defensively. Russell. Float out of his zone. Good first pass. Up to Raymond. Raymond takes a look around. Rings it around the boards. Goes past Glencross. And Mathias does the rest. Setting it down with 22 seconds to go in the Calgary power play. Here's Russell again, one last rush with the man advantage. Then to the sideboards by Ryan Stanton. He's given a bump, centering attempt for Juris. Bouncing puck, can't get a good shot away, and hand pass is the call. And play is whistled down, 5 seconds to go in the power play.
Calgary trying to get one here late, threatened early, and so much talk about how good Brodie, Giordano have been. Here you see right there is the glove pass to Juris. Doesn't quite get a piece of it before Byron swats it down.
Josh Juris, who is a call-up from the farm, had a really big splash. He's got 8 goals on the season, but just 1 assist in his last 8. The rookie from Burlington, Ontario. Just couldn't get that one to settle down. So 1 shot on that power play for the Calgary Flames, and it is 1-0 Vancouver. On the goal, I'm making quotation marks around that, by Yannick Weber. An own goal by the Calgary Flames.
I'll tell you, Vancouver won't be putting any quotes around that. They love it.
They'll take it.
They have needed a good start and some offense, and unlikely one that they're happy to have.
Vancouver has scored just 1 goal in its last 2 games coming into action tonight. Here the Sedin's going to work. The captain, Henrik, out to Radim Vrbata. Vrbata back to the line. Edler's drive through traffic. Puck stays loose, but Brodie is there to skate it away. Now he's trying to clear it, and it's going to end up back with the Canucks. Henrik out of the corner to Daniel. Daniel walks out, can't snap a shot, and the rebound goes to the corner where it's steered back to the line. Quickly across. Edler with a drive, blocked right in front of him by Glencross.
That's better for the Sedins though, 5-on-5, below the goal line, controlling the puck, getting to the point, and getting some traffic in front of the net.
First time this season the Sedins have gone 3 games without a point. Vrbata's been very consistent picking up points as well, but that's a big reason why they haven't been able to win in 5 games. Here's Lyndon Bay, back and forth he goes, drops it off for Mathias. Mathias being watched there by Weidman. Out of the corner now, here is Bay. Bay centers it, Richardson snaps a shot, and that goes wide. Battle along the boards. Goodrow makes the play, takes a hit from Richardson, drifts it down the ice, and Hudler wins the race, but then it's upended along the end boards with Bieksa. Here comes Mathias. And a steam, dumps the puck in, Hiller out of his net. Hiller's got to hate that goal too, eh, for the old save percentage. Oh, big collision there in the neutral zone as Spiza steps up on Raymond. And now Weber is stumped in the corner. There's a penalty coming up against the Flames and Juris. And now it's the Canucks who will get a power play. Boarding is going to be the call on Josh Juris. So Juris makes his way to the box, and the Canucks will go on the power play. We're expecting a little bit of this tonight on Hockey Night in Canada. Rogers Arena, between the benches tonight. Happy holidays, Mike Johnson.
It's been busy down here. Everyone want to check out the replays of that first goal by Yannick Weber. Of course, wanted to see exactly why it would or would not count, but Vancouver to the power play now as Josh Juris gets a penalty for boarding Yannick Weber. Gets him right in the numbers, no sudden move, and that's a hit you just cannot make. Easy call for the referees, and puts his team down. Gets to hang up the green man for a couple minutes or less.
Vancouver's power play has been North Pole type cold. 0 for 19 stretch and 0 for its last 15 on home ice. And that play is whistled down to the Vancouver blue line.
And it really has been a perfect storm the wrong way for Vancouver. As 5-on-5, they've had all their lines go cold, but then the power play, which you need to sustain your team when things aren't happening 5-on-5, well, it also goes now 0 for 19, and we're trying different personnel, different ideas to break this slump.
Alex Burrows on the #1 power play. There's a good shot. Nice save there by Hiller, and he controls the rebound and hangs on.
We have absolutely seen a shot-first mentality from Vancouver through the first half of this period. They're not looking for anything fancy, anything extra. Bravada, even though it's a power play, still tees it up from the wall. And the key is if you're going to shoot, and Willie Desjardins wants his team to, then you have to get to the front of the net. That's the second part of the equation. Alex Burrows should be planting right front on this power play.
Here's Edler at the point. He scored the last power play goal at home. They bang away in front of Hiller. Puck is loose, and Bravada tucks it in there. And Vancouver takes a 2-0 lead.
Well, Alex Burrows has moved up this #1 unit for one reason, and that's to get right there. And he seals off Brody, gets inside position, and then how about that quick little stick from Bravada? That is a goal scorer. As Byron's got inside position, he's got a stick tied up, but the little reach and poke from Bravada to scrape it past Jonas Hiller as he's worrying about Burrows hacking away, and then Bravada with that nice goal scorer's touch finds the back door.
So finally they score with the man advantage, breaking an 0 for 19 skid. And it's Bravada who leads the team with 6 power play goals, his 13th of the season. And they're coming back for more. There's another stop by Hiller, and the rebound is swept away. Stepping in now is Goudreau, drops it off. They throw it back out in front for Hudler, and he couldn't reach in traffic. Burrows and Daniel Sedin draw the assist at 9:24 on the power play. 2-0 just past the midway point. And there's another shot. You're right, Mike. They are shooting from everywhere tonight. And so far, it's given them a 2-0 lead. They got a little help from the Calgary Flames, but they will take it. 2-0 Vancouver. You are watching Hockey Night in Canada.
Bo Horvat got a vote of confidence from the Canucks this week when they decided he was too valuable to be loaned to Team Canada's World Junior team. He is the first teenager to play for the Canucks in 10 years, playing 10 minutes a night. He's been strong on faceoffs, around 57%, and there is where, as a child, he was schooled on the draws. In the basement of the family home in Rodney, Ontario, his father Tim would drop the puck for him, and younger brother Cal, the basement was set up like a rink. So for Bo Horvat from the basement in Rodney to winning draws in the NHL. It's a story that's hard not to like.
That is a great story, but I gotta believe he's firing a lot of pucks down there too. You know, Mike, how often was he actually working on the faceoff?
He knew.
I would really like.
Do you want to play as a teenager in the NHL as a centerman? You better be good on draws.
Here he comes. Horvat puts it to open ice. Bieksa takes it off the board and sweeps it into the backhand. Alex Burrows along the sideboard. Juris there. Pushes that one up and over to center ice as the Flames now find themselves down by 2. And this is a team that used to not worry about the score. They would just keep coming at you. But right now they're a fragile team mentally. At least not showing that kind of confidence that they had about a month ago. Long pass up the station. Winds and shoots. That goes off the skates and in behind the net. Canucks keep the play alive, and Lyndon Bay has it. Byron goes crashing into Bay along the sideboards, and there is Lance Beaumont. Back to Dennis Wideman. 10 goals on the season for Wideman. Leads all NHL defensemen. Biza backs up. And the Canucks reset. Shots are 11-5 in favor of Vancouver. One thing about this losing streak for the Flames, they've been outshooting teams regularly. 6 of the 7 games, they've outshot the opposition. Here's Edler now, goes back up top to Tanev. Tanev trying to get it past Lindros, and he got back up on his feet quickly. Jones hard along the sideboards. DJ Brody swirling around, drops it off for Giordano. Pass in the middle for Goudreau. Johnny Goudreau with a wrist shot and goes up and over the net. Now he's in behind the goal. He's got Monahan down low, pulls that one down out of the air. Backhand feed to Goudreau. Johnny Goudreau was dancing last night at home against the Dallas Stars. His confidence just continues to grow. And look at that pass. Tees it up for Giordano with a blast. But a good, clean look at Miller, who came out, challenged the shooter, and makes the stop.
It's a good save for Ryan Miller, though. Not much to shoot at from Mark Giordano, who can really fire some lasers.
Jiri Hudler now. Hudler in the corner, centers it out in front. Sedin lost control of it, and now it ends up with Kevin Bieksa. Here's Bieksa. One-touch pass over the far side. Hansen puts it up the boards, and now it's Bonino. Takes it out of midair, but had it poked away by Rafael Diaz, who played 6 games last season for the Canucks. Up ahead to Juris. Josh Juris caught from behind by the back check of Bonino. Stanton does the rest. Couple of touches, and the Canucks are away. Here comes Chris Higgins now with numbers. Higgins chops up, snaps a shot, and then goes over the glove hand of Hiller. Quick transition by Vancouver.
That was a nice breakout. That was textbook. 4 short little passes and a rush chance.
Higgins out of the corner. Trying to find a lane to get it out front to Bonino, and he couldn't get a clean pass as this one goes down the ice. Well, Willie Desjardins told us that they got some good practices in this week, Mike.
Well, they've been worried about their energy level so much with the heavy schedule on the road, that long road trip, and looks like they finally have some energy back in their game.
4th line out on the ice for Desjardins. Horvat, Burrows, and Dorsett. Dorsett's had a fight tonight with Derek Englund.
What you always want to do on your birthday?
Yeah.
I suppose him and Chris Tanev celebrate theirs today.
Byron pulls that one out of the air, chopped away by Dorsett. Steps in now. Dorsett in, shoots, and that's off the stick of Wyman and into the corner. All the way down the ice with Tanev in after it, and this is icing against the Calgary Flames. Well, it wouldn't be a Griswold family Christmas without a frozen tree, excessive lights, and oddball relatives now, would it? Chevy Chase stars in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation tomorrow night at 8, right here on CBC.
Johnny Gaudreau has been so good this year. You see what he can do, taking the puck in traffic, dancing, and already gets respect from the defensive backup, fearing his hands and his speed. Him and Jiri Hudler are fun to watch together.
Gaudreau scored his first career goal against the Canucks in the one game he played last season. Here's Mathias now, long-range shot, and that is swallowed up by Jonas Hiller. 5:06 to go here at Rogers Arena. The Vancouver Canucks up by 2.
Kevin Bieksa, always one of the heart and soul guys for Vancouver, physical player, and he's always going to get hit as well as give a few, and Lance Fulmer lines him up, gets into him there, and Bieksa off to the bench. Clearly shaking something out in that right arm, shoulder area. And he does that for 2 or 3 minutes as he's still trying to find himself to get right. And they can ill afford any injury to their top 3 defensemen. After Dan Hamhuis has been injured with that groin injury, they need Tanev, Edler, Bieksa to be healthy, playing their 23-24 minutes a night.
This is the 12th game tonight that Hamhuis is missing from the lineup, and he's not expected back anytime soon, although he did skate lightly this morning. Optional skate for the Canucks, and he was out there prior to everybody, testing things out lightly.
When you lose a guy like that, everyone gets propped up maybe slightly higher than they should. Lucas Sbisa goes up, and Yannick Weber plays a little more. Stanton gets up a few extra minutes, tougher competition, and over the course of time, they will get exposed, and that Sbisa-Bieksa pairing really struggled in this last little losing streak.
Good read there by Tanev. They tried a long stretch pass. He broke it up, and now it's back in towards the Calgary net. Bonino takes that out of the corner. Higgins is in there, swirling around. So's Hansen back to the line for Tanev. Redirected past the glove of Hiller. Here's Tanev again. Wrist shot. And it goes off a skate and Calgary's got it. Jones out of the reach of Glencross at the end of the shift. And those guys are going to have to remain out there on the icing call. Well, it wouldn't be a Griswold family Christmas without a frozen tree, excessive lights, and oddball relatives. Chevy Chase stars in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation tomorrow night at 8 on CBC. Rainy day in Vancouver here. Cold and rainy, kind of reflecting the mood of the hockey fans right now with this 5-game losing streak. Team in a brief stay atop the NHL standings. Falling on hard times, but I think many people think, Mike, that neither one of these teams are as bad as their losing streak would suggest right now.
Nor were they as good as their winning streaks had them in the standings. I don't think Vancouver found themselves as the best team in the league right now. Agreed.
There's Monahan putting it on net, up the stick and into the equipment there of Ryan Miller, who hangs on for the faceoff.
Well, it's been a good period for the Vancouver Canucks, up 2-0, 12 shots. Ryan Miller has been sharp, hasn't had too many difficult saves to make, but is moving and seeing the puck cleanly and really controlling his rebounds as Monahan's shot ramps up his stick into his chest. He smothers it. It's important for Vancouver to get out of this period with that 2-goal lead.
Mark Giordano, the captain, up ahead to Gaudreau. Off the skates there of Monahan into traffic, and Burrows gets it back to the line. There's Bieksa back out on the ice. And Burrows at center sends the puck in. Leaves it for Giordano. Up ahead to Yuri Hudler. Hudler flips this ahead. Bouncing puck controlled by Gaudreau, and he just keeps it deep. Monahan in on there, a forecheck, puts it up the boards. Only man there is Dorset. He's pinned by Hudler. Dug free by Spiza. Raymond comes in hard with a hit. Cross-ice feed. Off the stick of Burrows, in for Dorset. Dorset, chip and chase. Up there against Colburn. Big 6'5" Joe Colburn easily angles off the hit, and the Flames float this one back inside the Vancouver blue line. 2.5 minutes to go, the opening period. Both teams will play one more time before the Christmas break. Turned back in there, here's Schuris. Schuris is hit hard there by Spiza. Lost his stick, and now the Canucks are racing in 3-on-2. Daniel Vrbata, Ravine Vrbata can't get a shot away, and a penalty call coming up. It's going to be interference, and it's going against the Canucks as Henrik Sedin makes his way to the box.
Oh, good defense leads to some transition opportunities. Spiza, second big hit in the first period. Sets to the Juric, and off they go. Henrik tries to drive the seam here, pushes Giordano back, and Giordano goes down almost to block the shot, but that is one that is not called often, even though it absolutely is interference. Henrik trying to push Giordano back in the net and give Vrbata a chance to shoot. And instead, it's the Flames to go to the power play.
0 for 1 tonight. They were 0 for 4 last night at home against the Stars. Face-off win, back to Wideman. Wideman gives it to Johnny Gaudreau. Wines, fires, that's blocked right in front of him. And cleared immediately by the Canucks. Calgary had ample opportunity with the man advantage in the third period, trailing by 1. Including a 6-on-4 opportunity in the final minute with the goalie, and they just couldn't take advantage. Pass just out of the reach of Monahan, and they're going to have to go back and get this one. Dennis Wideman out from behind his own net. Burrows watching him as Wideman picks his way up the ice to center, and in it goes. Miller stops it up behind his net, puts it into the corner, and again the Vancouver Canucks rather easily going to get this out of there. Here's Burrows short-handed. His wrist shot goes nowhere on the rebound, and he can't center it. Excellent penalty killing from the fourth best penalty killing team in the NHL. And that is offside.
So lots of pressure when you're on the power play and your team's losing and struggling, and Johnny Gaudreau tries to make a pass here, turns over Puck goes down the ice. He goes to make a change, and Jiri Hudler, who is his confidant, his mentor, get into his ear a little bit there, saying, we got to get better at it. You're going to be our guy, handle the puck up the ice. You have to make better decisions than you just did. He just said it with slightly more colorful language.
Yeah, he had a little bit of an edge when he talked to us prior to the game here tonight. This power play is going nowhere. They got 30 seconds to go in it. 40 seconds and change to go in the period. Vancouver Canucks have allowed just one power play goal against in its last 7 games. Up ahead for Colborne, who's going to step in. Joe Colborne along the sideboards, pushing that puck into the corner. Yannick Weber is there. Here's Dorsett off the boards and out. Henrik Sedin on his feet. He is stepping out of the box right now. So they're 0 for 2 and no shots on that power play. Bouncing puck for Brody, and that is deflected off a stick up in the air. The Vancouver Canucks are going to take a 2-0 lead into the dressing room. 1 goal by Radim Vrbata on the power play, and another one given to Yannick Weber on an own goal for the Calgary Flames. Coming up in the intermission, we'll go inside the game with George, Nick, Kelly, and Elliott. 2-0 here at Rogers Arena. Vrbata and the Canucks leading on Hockey Night in Canada.
Set for the second period at Rogers Arena in downtown Vancouver, with the Canucks leading the Flames 2-0 as Vancouver bids to end a 5-game losing streak. Last season, and the calamity surrounding it here was clearly unacceptable to Canuck fans, and the organization got the message loud and clear as its sellout streak dating back to November of '02 came to a crashing halt. But that said, for the most part, Trevor Linden and Jim Benning have made decisions popular with the fans in Vancouver, and they've stayed in touch with them. And earlier tonight, about 2 hours before game time, they held a mid-season town hall with about 200 fans or stakeholders. Fans were welcome to ask any questions they wanted. Some of them were tough, and Linden and Benning entertained them all. Now, it's worth noting that although the sellout streak came to an end this season, most of the games here have been sold out. It's just that you can get tickets on game day, which hasn't happened in a long time here in Vancouver. Dave Randorf and Mike Johnson now with the call of the second period.
Thank you very much, Scott. Yeah, indeed, the Vancouver Canucks actually had one of their best starts in franchise history this season. They were 18-7-1, 11 games over 500, Mike, before stumbling around a little bit here in this current 5-game losing streak, and they're up by 2 as we start the second.
They were in first place in the league at one point before they went cold, but find themselves still very much inside the playoff chase where they want to be heading into Christmas.
Brody and Giordano back and forth on that top defensive pairing for the Calgary Flames, and right away they have iced the puck, and the faceoff's going to come back inside the Calgary blue line.
What a year it has been for Mark Giordano. I mean, you look at the number he's putting up there, his goals, his points. He leads the league with 26 games in which he's recorded at least 1 point. That's not leading amongst defensemen, that's leading the league.
He's actually tied with Malkin in that category, and Malkin did not have a point tonight.
I give defensemen always. Ty always goes to the defense.
Yeah, you know what? Not a bad point.
And he has been everything to this team, as well as a tremendous leader.
And a 9-game point streak in there as well. Where would they be without him?
And his partner, TJ Brody.
True.
The two of them have been terrific. And that contract that Brody signed earlier this season looks better and better with how he is developing.
5-year contract extension in late October. Sedin line dumps the puck in, and back to get it is Giordano. Right behind Brody with a +13. That is top 20 in the NHL. Here's Hudler. Tries to go wide side for Josh Juris. Angled away by Jannik Hansen. Hansen has no goals in his last 10. Since he scored a hat trick in late November against the Blackhawks in this building. Hansen's on the puck right now. Out of the corner, he gives it to Higgins. Higgins tries to create some room, going wide around Juris. Turns and shoots, and Hiller was ready for that with the stop. Action line for Hansen again. That's blocked in front of him by Juris. Hansen keeps on going and bangs in there with Dennis Wideman. Picked up by Gaudreau. Gaudreau looking around. Skates it in. Toe drag. He almost cruised right on in before Pieksa had enough of that and took him out of the play. Here's Monahan now. Quick release off the skate of Bieksa, where it's picked up on the far side. Centering attempt by Raymond. Stops a backhander. Ryan Miller down, makes the save. And what do we have here? There's a player down on the Canucks bench.
Jannik Hansen took that big hit from Dennis Wideman, and this bench reacted quickly. They wanted to stop it and help down to Jannik Hansen right there. We're hoping he just was winded. Skates off under his own screen. And the reaction told you how concerned the bench was.
Hansen is headed down the tunnel. He walked down there. You've been winded before, Mike?
Yeah, you're hoping that it's just winded, can't breathe, and he'll catch his breath momentarily. The fact that he skated off on his own and walked down the tunnel on his own is a good thing, but there is a heightened sensitivity. We've had some incidents over the last few years. Thinking of Rich Peverley in Dallas, of course. Yuri Fisher in Detroit, where the game doesn't matter. Oh, there you see him tip over. And doctor, which is now mandatory that he sits right on, medical personnel right on the tunnel, as well as doctors being able to reach the bench quickly in case something like that does happen, and get Jannik Hansen into good hands.
That is something that has really been an amazing improvement in this NHL, the response by medical personnel around the league. Fantastic. We'll get an update as soon as we can on the condition of Jannik Hansen, who has mentioned walked down the tunnel on his own. Playback underway. Tanev goes quickly across his Zabiza. His drive blocked in front by Lance Boma. Wrap around attempt there for Matthias, and he couldn't get to the puck to the net. Here is Boma again. Saw Zabiza coming and got out of the way of that hit. Zabiza's laid a couple of big thundering checks tonight.
That right there, too many.
Oh boy.
Even though the Calgary guy was right on the edge of the bench, almost a foot in. And already one call gone against Calgary, the own goal. And you see the pass right here. Diaz to the bench, and Colborne looking to step off. Jones plays it, and there's the too many men, and Lance Boma, my goodness, look at that, it's Lance Boma up in his midsection, not a ton of padding there. And like all great teammates, leaders, Kevin Bieksa, he wants to leave the bench, not because he's hurt, because he wants to know how Jannik Hansen's making out, perhaps relay that message back to his bench.
So power play for the Vancouver Canucks. They're 1-for-1 on the goal by Radim Vrbata. Snapping a long, lengthy power play drought. They were 0-for-19 before Vrbata scored, and that was their first power play goal at home since November 2nd. And they'll start this one by going to get the puck inside their own blue line. Too many men call against the Calgary Flames as Giordano sends this one down the ice.
Significant moment right here for Calgary. Get a kill and stay in this game.
Handler with a feed to Daniel into the middle for Henrik. Henrik spins it back to Daniel, who steps up. Edler with a blast. Bomo with a great block in front, and he is feeling that. He might have gotten it in the inside of his leg.
It's what he does, though, every single game. Lays it on the line, hits, blocks, and not an easy way to play hockey every night.
Calgary is the top shot blocking team in the NHL. And TJ Brodie sends this one down the ice. There was Edler. Alex Edler, 1 assist in his last time coming into tonight. As offense from the defense has been a struggle for Vancouver this season. Here's Weber with a look. He blasts one right on. Hiller makes the save, and he covers up on the rebound.
We just showed Lance Boma block a shot 5-on-5 a couple minutes ago. He's out here killing a penalty, so what does he do? Alex Edler tees one up, and right in the calf. That's gonna hurt. You think he might be a little sore because last night he had a bit of an adventure as well. And looks involved physically, some big hits, running around. Sometimes you get one, sometimes you miss, as he went into the Dallas bench as well and took another tough hit later in the game, but somehow managed to find the will to do it night after night.
Former captain of the Vancouver Giants in the Western League. Bonino with a wrist shot, looking for the tip in front by Chris Higgins, and it tipped wide, and it carried him all the way outside the zone and down the ice. Weber turns and heads up. Near side feed for Lyndon Bay. Lyndon Bay has got 6 goals on the season, 4 of them on the power play.
A lot of that came early when he was the trigger man in the slot with that first unit.
Here's Josh Juris now. Short-handed, but no help. Takes a little more time off the clock as there are just 5 seconds remaining in this too-many men call against the Flames. John Mathias given a hard ride there by Engelland. 1 shot on the power play for Vancouver, which is now over. Fired in hard, pulled off the boards by Chris Russell. Russell, clearing attempt, intercepted, and the Vancouver Canucks go back to work. Out of the corner, big feed, out in front, looking for Richardson off the stick of Dorset. Here's Richardson again, trying to center it. Now Mathias, out of the corner, down low, Derek Dorset. Dorset skates it into the corner, lots of time, sharp angle shot, Hiller ready for that, and Glencross on the rebound. Calgary skates it away. Monahan, wide side, Jones blasts one up and over the shoulder and wide. Picked up by Richardson on the move, they come again. Here's Dorset, stops on the high slot, looks for late help, and that line will just complete a change. The Sedin line comes over the boards. Russell goes back and forth with Dennis Wideman. Feed into the middle off the shin pads of Boudreau, and now Daniels got the puck. Daniels Sedin across, hurling for it, Edler with a shot. Into traffic, it's knocked down and sent out.
Together, Omelo trying to pass that one back door. Shoot that one a little harder than that. We know he can.
Quick up to Henrik. The captain in there, cross ice feed. Daniel drops it back to the line. Here's Edler for the drive, looking for a tip in front. He got it, but Henrik tipped it up and out of play. 13:45 to go in the second, and it's still a 2-0 lead for the Canucks on Hockey Night.
There's a fair amount of concern here at Rogers Arena over the condition of Jannik Hansen. This is the hit he took from Dennis Wideman. Bounced off. It looked like he might have been winded. Was able to skate to the bench, but under a bit of duress. And there, a terrifying moment as he collapsed, and the players signaled immediately for medical assistance. So the doctor was quick out to attend to Hansen, who was able to walk with some help to the Canucks room. Now we understand the Canucks have locked down the hallway. An ambulance is on standby, but we won't know anything official about Hansen's condition until the end of the period. Dave.
Thanks, Scott. You're right, that is always a very difficult thing for players to refocus. And here come the Flames now. Sharp angle shot, Miller down, and he covers up and hangs on that quick release there from the side of the net by Sean Monahan.
Ryan Miller has had not very much to do here in the second period. It's a pretty good save. Mason Raymond pokes it loose, protects it. Monahan wheels and fires, and rebound there for a moment. Little Paul Byron goes in there digging after it. You see Miller, that left leg down, right leg half up for the push. Gets across to make the save.
Here's Boma off the face-off win for the Flames. Down low also is Colborne. As Stajan heads for the front of the net, Colborne trying to get away from the check of Weber. Back to the line, big blast! Diaz rings it off the post, and it's up and out of play as Diaz's shot almost found its way home.
That's a good 5-on-5 cycle shift for the Calgary Flames as Rafael Diaz rings one off the post. Watch Engelland jump in, Diaz slides over, cues up the one-timer. Coverage a little bit confused by Vancouver. Miller gets beat cleanly on that one. There's the outside of the post and out. One thing Rafael Diaz can't do is absolutely shoot it.
Played for 3 teams last year, Montreal, Vancouver, and the Rangers. His last goal last season came against Calgary. Almost got his first of the season there. There's a chance for the Canucks as they come in over the line. Mathias was stripped as he turned looking for some help. entering the zone. Here's Dorsett now. Chips it in there, shot on the thigh, spins it towards the net. Big rebound, squeeze it with a rocket, and he didn't miss by much. That just goes whistling past the top corner. Bouncing around out in front, and it ends up with Calgary and Lance Boma. Up to Matt Stajan. He'll chip it in and change. Yannick Weber, like he has, a former Montreal Canadian. His pass into the middle of the ice for Higgins. Second attempt, gets it in there. Hiller out of his net. Russell puts it up the boards. Horvat can't get change. Back towards the goal and into the corner. Russell sidesteps that one, and Burrows almost kept it in. Here's Bo Horvat. Long range shot up in the air on Hiller. Horvat down low against Weidman. Higgins skate to stick, but he turns it up, and Dennis Weidman has it. Gets it to his partner, Russell. He's immediately met there by Burrows. Here's Jones fighting for possession of the puck against Stanton. Good hard battle, no call on that play as two players get twisted up on a battle for the puck in front of the Vancouver net. Daniel sitting in the puck now, wide side to Henrik. Henrik to Daniel, little tip, and that doesn't click. Henrik Sedin sitting on 199 career goals. And has been for a little while now. Here comes Radim Vrbata. In for Henrik. Henrik high slot to Daniel. Daniel shoots, and that's blocked.
Six guys out here for Calgary for a long time. Wow.
This one there.
Wow, all the way back into the defensive zone.
They've already had a too many men called tonight, and they're going to call it now. They're calling it now.
They are getting to it late. Jonas Hiller had a busy night. One thing the Canucks are doing is shooting from angles, trying to create rebounds. They've done it time and again. They've done it with great success. Hiller spits those pucks back up the middle, and here's the latest one, drifting one in, and definitely a strategy that the Canucks are using. And that is a very late call, which won't make Bob Hartley happy, even though it absolutely was the correct one. They had six guys inside their own end before they peeled back and tried to even things up.
Here's a chance out in front as they walked out there. That was Radim Vrbata. Couldn't finish on the near side. TJ Brodie battling for the puck, and he's got it. Bola shoots! And he takes a hit along the end boards as Miller makes the stop on a good short-handed rush for the Calgary Flames.
Look who's leading it. TJ Brodie, defenseman, jumping up on Edler, putting some pressure on him, creating the turnover, and then the nice feed into Boma. Tries to slip it 5-0, almost gets it underneath Ryan Miller, and they're short-handed because you look on the rush. Start counting the Flames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And eventually Glencross and Gaudreau both peel off, but far too late to not be called for too many men.
Second too many men call against Calgary tonight on a night which they had an own goal. The first goal of the game ended up in their own net with Jonas Hiller pulled on the delayed penalty call in the first period. Kept in by Weber. Weber up the boards for Bonino. He'll go across to Bieksa. Second power play unit out for the Canucks. They've scored just one power play goal all season on the second unit power play, Mike. Here's Bieksa, picks his way in. Into the corner for Higgins. Off of the end boards, out of the reach of Bay, and this one's going to go down the ice. Weber being watched by Boma. And now starting out is Alex Edler to center. Edler's pass. Missed Daniel. He goes back into for it, and Daniel puts it around the boards, and this one is out of the reach of Vrbata. And again, out they go.
This is looking a little bit more like the 0 for 19 power play than the one that clicked early in the first period.
Up ahead, this is Daniel setting up back for Vrbata. Radim Vrbata into the corner. Henrik now. Along the top of the circle, gives it to Edler, gets it back, bounces off of his stick. 10 seconds to go in the power play. Off of the end boards where it's picked by Vrbata. Daniel and Vrbata bouncing puck. Here's Henrik out of the corner. Back and forth they go. Henrik cross-side feed. There's Verbata with a drive kick. Hiller kicks it out. Power play is over. Gaudreau's out of the box. Canucks still with the puck. Jamming away is Daniel. And finally, Jonas Hiller dives out and hangs on for the stop. It is still a 2-0 hockey game. You're watching Hockey Night in Canada. Celebrate the season with performances by Blue Rodeo, Walk Off the Earth, Nikki Yanofsky, Bare Naked Ladies, and more. Don't miss CBC Music 12 Songs of Christmas, Wednesday night at 7 on CBC. Here's Scott Oak.
Dave, in our last update, we suggested that it was possible Jannik Hansen could be taken by ambulance to hospital, but now we understand that he will remain in the Canuck room under examination, so that's good news, but of course we wouldn't bet on him returning to this game.
Great news indeed, Scott. Thank you very much.
You know what, Dave? That's the kind of news that you'll want to circulate back through the bench, or certainly everyone will want to get down the hallway in between the second and third to make sure that their teammate is going to be okay. And Trevor Linden has been down and gotten the update as well. And it's hard to play when you see something like that happen to one of your friends, one of your teammates. Try to focus back in on the hockey, knowing that it looks like at least he'll be in the room. Could ease his teammates' minds.
Dorsett battling for that puck, almost got it centered out in front. Still on it. Here's Richardson trying to contain it. It just hops outside the line. Tanev being chased there by Monahan. Still a very close game here. Shots are 19-12 in favor of Vancouver. A couple of too many men calls against Calgary. They had none all season up until tonight. Here's Mathias now along the near board, picked up by Russell. He'll head back and now look up ice. Pass in the middle for Jones. Jones takes it, shoots, and Miller makes the stop. Now he's got it again. Back to the line he goes. Russell on his back end towards the net. Hits it, and just getting a piece of it was Miller. With that right pad on the redirect in front. Russell fakes the shot, steps up, shoots. One save, hits the post, scores! Calgary is on the board. A determined shift pays off, and they've cut the lead to 1.
Well, David Jones was going to be due because he put two different shots in. First shot there on Ryan Miller. Puck gets out to the point. He gets into the slot. Has a great tip right there. That Miller makes a pretty good save. Doesn't know where it is, but he sticks with it. Fighting off Chris Tanev there. Tanev starts to front, little switch, and rebound right there for him to shovel short side. Ryan Miller has it in his glove, but he drops it right on a plate. David Jones to bury it. You said it, close game. Doesn't feel like it should be close, but now just a 1-goal game here in Vancouver.
And did the Flames need that? I mean, for obvious reasons, but just for a morale standpoint, this has been a fragile team that is lacking confidence right now, but what a shift that was.
It's amazing what a team can do, because this team for the first 25 games fully believed no matter what the score, they'd be able to come back, win any game. They did it several times, trailing going to the third, overtime, late game heroics, and then all of a sudden, you go a few games without any success, you no longer believe that the same group can do it.
Jones with his 6th goal of the season from Russell and Granlund at 12:29, and it's 2-1. Lyndon Bay now, in front he goes, Hiller slides across, and had to make a stop in tight on Higgins, who may have gotten his stick on it. Now Higgins turns it back, Bonino with a shot, didn't get all of it on the tee-up from Higgins. He's got the puck again, centers it, and Gaudreau just gets her outside the line. Hoodler on his backhand, pushes it in there, Gaudreau still on the forecheck. Up the boards it goes. Energy now for the Calgary Flames. A team that has lost 8 in a row against Vancouver. They were 5-0, Vancouver was against Calgary last season. Already beaten them once this season. Miller out of his net, he's almost turned that one over, but he got a little help on the Canucks are away. There's the captain. Henrik comes back across the sea for Daniel, and they are offside entering the zone.
Vancouver gives one up. They almost have a chance to get it right back as Lyndon Bay creates a turnover. 2-on-1 here. Chris Higgins tries to put it on Bonino, but look at that puck bouncing around, rolling. Tough one to one-timer. The pass is where you want it, but you got to have it a little bit flat give the shooter a chance to make a good shot. Also eyes on Bonino right now as he's going through a protracted slump.
1 goal in his last 17. There's a shot that came in the game a week ago against the New York Rangers. And the one thing to keep in mind, Mike, is statistically the Calgary Flames over the course of the season to this point, they've been a team that gets stronger as the game goes on.
Most goals in the NHL in the third period, it's always been their best. Part of that's because they've been trailing often, and they make a push to try to even things up.
There's a turnover, and Daniel couldn't keep it deep. Here's Raymond, spins this one across. Giordano is up in the play, and Weber's marking him. Visa takes a hard hit, but again, support down low from the captain. Here's Daniel now. At the end of a shift, he dumps it in and peels off towards the bench. Dorsett goes in for another bang and crash shift. Up there against Russell. Dug free by Richardson. Back to the line for Bieksa. Quickly moves it across. Stays inside the line. That's kicked in front. They bang away. And Hiller is down to cover it up. And there's a meeting in front of the Calgary net. Now in behind it.
Dorsett still scrumming it up. Canucks wanted more guys in front of the net. They got it on that sequence.
David Jones and the Calgary Flames have turned this one into a game. It's 2-1 on Hockey Night.
Like the rest of the Canucks, the Sedins were struggling heading into tonight's game against Calgary, and they picked up a goal while on the power play. But once again, 5-on-5, it has been a difficult night for that first line. Of course, they're marked. They play against very good defenders, against defensive-minded players. They've had a couple looks off the rush, but really where they are at their best is when they get the puck in the offensive zone, start working the cycle around and creating below the goal line. They have not had enough offensive zone time to create that kind of opportunity.
There's a high shot knocked down by Hiller off his shoulder and behind the net. Richardson's up there. And now Burrows works it back to the line for Bieksa. No lane to shoot, so he sends it around the boards. Stanton has stepped up. Here is Burrows. Burrows looking to wrap this around, throws it back to the line. Here's Bieksa now. Wrist shot into traffic, knocked down easily by the captain, Mark Giordano. DJ Brodie. Trying to flip one across for Goudreau. Now Goudreau had a chance to put it in there. Bieksa's going to head the other way. Bumped off the puck by Paul Byron. When Paul Byron lacks in stature, he makes up for in energy and grit, doesn't he?
Well, impact can be measured by weight and by speed, so he's not heavy, but he's quick.
Here's a quick shot by Raymond right on as he turned and fired. Flames from the back end. Here is Russell. Makes a move on Bay on his backhand. Puts it in front, was looking for Monahan, and now to the corner is Mason Raymond. Monahan around the board, stepping in there is Derek Engelland. He's given a hit there by Higgins. Edler's back there as well. Monahan can't feed that one out in front. It comes free for Linden Bay, and now Bieksa just flips this one, eases it down the ice. Russell backs up. Now he's got some room to skate it up. Good feed up to Colborne, who steps in. Colborne back to Raymond. Raymond can't get a shot on it. Bounces out in front. Miller was leaning the other way, and Edler was there just in time. Here's Bonino. Kicks it to his teammate there, and they're able to clear the zone. You sense Calgary picking up a little momentum here?
Absolutely. Territorially, more possession. Skating to the neutral zone like that.
Here comes Colborne now, makes the move, steps around and gets the shot away. Miller holding his ground, they bang away. Everybody is in that crease. What a move there. Good, strong power drive by Joe Colborne.
Well, that's what you like to see, that big frame taking it wide all the way to the far post. Don't get behind the net. Edler late in the shift. Stick the leg out, protect it, and that's a nice cut. Ryan Miller showing some good strength, hanging on that post. Staging, digging at it. Brodie right in there. Colborne, of course, attacking. That's great edge work by Colborne not to fall down. One save. Stajan gets a good whack on it, but the strength in the hips and the groins of Ryan Miller to hold that post, keep that puck over the goal line. See him wedge that skate in against the post until he's finally speared into the net, which would not result in a goal. I think they will confirm that quickly here at the penalty box, that puck did not cross the line.
Ryan Miller is another player here tonight that is trying to turn things around. He admitted as much yesterday. His save percentage in the month of December, Mike, is .837.
Yeah, that's not going to get it done in any league. You see the first save, second save, and the play's blown dead here. That jab by Colborne and Boma put him in the net. It won't matter if the puck ends up in there or not. It's not going to count. They're going to have the defensive core for the Canucks checking out the replay as we speak. See right there, the play's dead. He's got it covered. You can't just jam his pad inside the goal line, even though the glove's over top of the puck. So should not take very long. This one be waved off, no goal. Miller did a nice job sealing it. And of course, the most interested party of them all, Joe Colborne, still looking for his first on the year. Trying to will that one.
There was no goal on the play.
No goal for Colborne, but that is definitely the type of move that Brad Treliving loves to see from the former first-round draft pick of the Boston Bruins. Acquired at the start of last season from Toronto for a fourth-round pick.
He's turned into a pretty good young centerman here in Calgary. They got Michael Backlund, still their lone injured guy up front. He's coming off an abdomen surgery.
Backlund again starting to skate gingerly, but they don't suspect he'll be back anytime soon either. After a career season for him last year. Here come the Sedins with Bravada, wide side, and blast goes off the stick of Giordano and up and out of play. With a further update on Jannik Hansen, here again is Scott.
All right, Dave. Well, officially, the Canucks have said that Jannik Hansen will not return to tonight's game as a result of precautionary reasons. For the countless people watching this game worried about his condition, I can tell you, and Trevor Linden certainly is breathing a sigh of relief, that Hansen was spotted walking across the hallway to the Canuck workout room, where he is, I would expect, undergoing some light physical tests, but he's up and around under his own power, looks just fine, and it's a load off a lot of people's minds.
Indeed, Scott, good news for a guy who came in into the night, tied for second on the team with 8 goals. A nice stretch, 3-game stretch in November. There's a long blast off the stick of Hudler. And Miller stared him down and made the save. Kept it to the point, moved across to Russell. Russell in towards it and redirected, and that's a good stop there by Miller. We'll celebrate the season with performances by Blue Rodeo, Walk Off the Earth, Nikki Yanofsky's Bare Naked Ladies, and more. Don't miss CBC Music 12 Songs of Christmas Wednesday night at 7 on CBC.
This #1 line is pretty quiet tonight, but a little drifter in, and little Johnny Gaudreau still working in the front of the net with Lucas Sbisa. It's all about getting shots down in the front of the net. Doesn't matter how hard, with all that traffic, just finding a way, and Ryan Miller almost had that one dribble through him.
Good face-off win by the Flames. They are not a good face-off team, 29th in the NHL in that department.
And all their injured veteran guys early in the year having rookies take draws, unless, of course, you're Bo Horvat, is not a recipe for success in the NHL.
Indeed, we'll see if that improves now that they got those guys back. Here's Nick Bonino, sets it up for Linden Bay, moves in, takes the shot off a skate to the far boards. Higgins. Down low now, they put it out in front of Bay, and he can't get a shot away with Russell watching him, centering attempt for Higgins. He's in traffic, knocked off the puck, and the Flames come charging into their zone. Byron goes into the middle, gets it back. Here's Paul Byron, tees it up, and a great save there. Coming across with a stop on Raymond was Miller. Ron Miller's made a couple of key saves here in the last 4 or 5 minutes to keep it a 1-goal game with 1 minute to go in the second period. Here's Stajan now. Stajan drops it off. Boma's snapshot goes up and over the net. Met by Giordano. Boma now. Back to Mark Giordano. Across to Brody. Brody's wrist shot hits the body in front. Burrows off the window and down the ice. Quickly up to Bowman, the attempt anyway, read by Bieksa, but it's tipped up and over the glass.
Good chance for Calgary here late in the second period. Long throughout through. Nice job by Tanev breaking it up, but Lyndon Bay, that's a flyby that you need to stop on the puck. And Byron kicks over to Raymond, gets it upstairs on Miller, makes a nice save. Lyndon Bay, you want to play late in the period. You got to make sure that you stop on loose pucks, don't drift to the boards, and protect the slot.
Canucks control off the drop. Here's Bravada. Sweeps it in there. Hiller stops it up behind his own net. Into the corner he goes, out of the reach of Brody. And the Canucks have it. It's Henrik. Henrik looks one way, comes out the other, tries to center it out in front. Bravada gets it to sit down, works it to Bieksa. He was pressured by Brody. Went cross to the line and gets it out. Over to Daniel, running out of time. Here's Bravada, one last shot, makes a move, and he couldn't get into a shooting position, centers it out in front as time expires. And the Calgary Flames get the only goal in this second period. Two struggling teams looking for a win, and it's a one-goal match. Back in Vancouver, and on behalf of everyone at Hockey Night in Canada, we wish you a safe and very happy holiday. Third period about to begin here at Rogers Arena. Dave Brandorf with you up here. Mike Johnson down there. Mike, neither one of these teams has won a game since December 4th. Desperation time. Have you sensed any momentum shifting?
Well, Vancouver was the better team in the first, but Calgary much better in the second. And you're right, this is a monstrous game. Calgary has not won or picked up a point in 7. Vancouver hasn't won in 5. Christmas break is coming up. Both teams want to get right and feel good about themselves. They both want 2 points out of tonight. Big third period coming up.
Third member of our crew tonight, Scott Oake.
Dave, the ultimate sacrifice for a defenseman is the shot block, and Chris Russell sacrifices more than anyone else in the league with 103 block shots, one of those in tonight's game. That's half his total of last year, and the season's not yet at the halfway mark. He was a skilled defenseman with Medicine Hat and came into the NHL as one with Columbus. He is fearless, but that runs in the family. His father, Doug, is a Hall of Fame bullfighter. 4 times was in the Canadian Rodeo Finals. And one final point about shot blocking. It gets a lot of attention, but as Mike Johnson has pointed out, it's not necessarily the most positive stat. If you're blocking a lot of shots, it means you're spending a lot of time in your own zone, defending a lot. Dave.
We'll see how the Vancouver Canucks defend this one-goal lead. There's the first shot of the period and the first save made by Jonas Hiller. Granlund straight up the middle, and that is offside at the Vancouver blue line. Ralphie wants a Red Ryder BB gun, but can he convince his parents, his teacher, and Santa that he won't shoot his eye out? Catch the family comedy, A Christmas Story, Monday nights at 8 on CBC. Seen that movie, right, Mike?
No guns.
Bonino sidesteps a check as Giordano had stepped up. And now he has to get his stick in the lane against Bonino in front of his own net. Edler sends it back in. Calgary Flames here, I tell you what started as a bit of a stumble has turned into an epic losing streak. 7 straight in regulation. That has not happened in this franchise since it was located in Atlanta, Mike, in the 74-75 season.
That is a long time ago. They want to stop that now, and they'll be looking to their captain to continue his strong play to help them do so. Tries to step up on Bonino, lucky to avoid a tripping penalty there. But then, of course, he keeps his feet moving, and Bonino thinks he has an inside step, but look at the strength and the torque on Giordano's stick when he gets over top of Bonino's, making sure that Bonino can't get a piece of that puck.
Face-off tonight are fairly even. Vancouver's a slight edge of 53% through 2 periods of play. They'll control off this draw. This is Stanton. Stanton in the middle of the ice. Daniel tips it to his brother Henrik. Henrik into the corner. Deep, stops up, looks back, then cycles it back for Daniel. Englund can't get it past Radom Bravada. Here is Henrik again. Into the near corner, goes up the boards, and there is Russell. First pass to Englund, and they're away to center ice. One touch to Goudreau. Johnny Gaudreau stepping in. Back in the middle for Hudler, and he can't handle the return feed in front of the net. Back comes Henrik. Henrik in over the line with the X on this rush. His backhander into the corner it goes. Pinned along the sideboards. Lyndon Bay is there along with Henrik Sedin, and it's just free by Giordano. Brody quickly turns, banks it off the board. Byron has it pulled away by Lucas Biza. Sean Mathias tips it into the Calgary zone. Out again is Hiller. Again, Hiller played last night at home against Dallas. First time this season he has played on back-to-back nights. Here's Bay. Chips it out to center. Backing up is Dennis Wideman. Shots at dead even, 23 apiece. One goal separates them. Joe Colbert can't corral the pass, and spinning away is Tanev. Christopher Tanev on his horse trying to step around Boma, who angled him back. Up ahead of Dorset. At center, gets it to Burrows. Burrows snaps the shot. Blocker save. Angled away there by Hiller. There is Rafael Diaz. Diaz has that pass intercepted and it's sent back into the corner. Racing after this, the rookie, Bo Horvat. Dorset hit along the sideboards there, and Calgary's desperately trying to get it out of here, and now they do. 3 minutes gone in the third period. Right now, Radim Vrbata has the go-ahead goal, but it's an own goal by the Calgary Flames that's haunting them at this moment. Pushed up ahead, the Sedins charge in there, Engelland back after. Gets it away to Russell. Chris Russell into the middle, here's Glenn Cross now. Back for David Jones, who's got the lone goal here for Calgary, trying to force his way in. And Miller makes the stop, and he'll hang on.
Break the ice with Icebreakers, official mint of the NHL.
The goal scorer for Calgary's got some jump in his legs here as he drives wide. Stanton using that strength one arm to get it in on Ryan Miller. And David Jones has had some 20-goal seasons before in his career, and the shoot it can skate when he's got a little bit of confidence. And nothing builds confidence like a goal for a goal scorer.
Calgary goes to work off the face-off win. Giordano brings it around the boards, fed by Gaudreau. And it's cleared out to center ice. Here is Higgins. Christopher Higgins, no points in his last 8. Trying to make something happen. This second line hasn't been bad tonight. Higgins has got the puck with some room and some time. Can't get it to Bonino. And there is Stanton. Back and forth he goes with Kevin Bieksa. They'll back up while the Canucks complete a change. Lyndon Bay. Pass was ahead of Bonino, and the Flames take over from there. Here comes Raymond. Mason Raymond, 6 seasons for the Canucks. Taps the shot, gets a second attempt. Neither of them reach the net. Engelland back into the middle. Here is Sean Monahan. Monahan, who scored the overtime winner the last time the Flames won a game against Colorado, again on December 4th. Here's Sabiza. Cruising around, gets it away to Richardson on his backhand, puts it in there. And Russell corrals the puck behind his own net. Turns back the other way and comes near side for Derek Engelland. Flames send it back in. Centering a tip by Colburn, immediately intercepted there by Sean Mathias. Mathias can't get it deep on either attempt, and he'll peel back to the chain. You sense neither team wants to make a mistake here, Mike?
Certainly Vancouver is playing very cautiously defensively. Calgary going to keep pushing forward. Just going to get through that neutral zone effectively when they Canucks set up that trap.
Here's Bo Horvat. He steps in over the line, and he'll drop it off for Bieksa. Into the corner it goes to Higgins. Higgins wheeling and dealing, walks out, shoots. Hiller makes the save, and the rebound. He's got that too. As his mask comes off, a collision right in front of him. There's been a lot of traffic in front of both nets tonight.
Dave, you touched on it. Chris Higgins hasn't picked up a point in his last 8 games. Trying to find a way to create some offense. Been a pretty solid contributor for a while here in Vancouver, and just keep putting pucks onto the net. Horvat battling for position, Dorsett battling position, and then it's Dorsett who shoves Wideman onto the back right about there. And there goes the mask of Jonas Hiller, who's trying to do his best turtle impersonation, tuck his head back into his equipment, be safe down there. Hiller's been solid in this game, as has Ryan Miller. There's Chris Higgins. He looks a little different this week than we last saw him, and even if you're not superstitious, you got a beard like that going, and you're not scoring for 8 games, you might want to lighten the load a little bit.
That's coming off.
Shave it down, see what you can get done, and he's been good tonight. Several good opportunities, and would not surprise me if he picks up a point and that long, pointless drought.
Sitting on 5 goals, 15 points in the season. There was a time a few weeks ago when the Calgary Flames would think, okay, we're trailing by 1, entering the 3rd. Perfect, we got them right where we want them. They were the Rally Kings 6 times this season. They've come from behind in the late stages to win a game.
You knew that couldn't keep up. It happened only 4 times the entire season last year. Happened 6 times in the first couple months. It is just not sustainable no matter how much you want to battle to the very end, and Flames have seen some of that balance back out the last couple weeks.
Well, they're going to need to do it again tonight. 13.5 minutes to go. Quick shot there by Goodrow. That is blocked. He got it away quickly, but traffic in front. Engelland with a drive. Again, blocked in front. Vancouver collapsing in front of its own net, blocking those shots. Higgins battles for the pocket, gets it free. Visa picks it out of the corner. Moves it up. There's Goodrow. Russell. Back into the corner. It's hit by Hudler. Harry Hudler moves it back for Chris Russell. Bouncing puck. Quickly across to Engelland. Here's Goodrow again. And Hudler back to Goodrow. What a feed! Score! Johnny Hockey has tied the game.
What a passing sequence in the offensive zone for the Calgary Flames. And Johnny Gaudreau ends up going 5-hole, but Yuri Hudler goes D to D, pop it back down to Gaudreau, and then right here, look at this pass by Hudler. Wheeling and boom, right on the tape, and it's off. Johnny Gaudreau goes 5-hole, but right there, a little switch, aerial pass, and whew, seeing eye wrister through the legs of Ryan Miller from Johnny Gaudreau. And you see the kind of chemistry that him and Hudler have together. That was pretty to watch.
43rd goal the Calgary Flames have scored in the 3rd periods of this season. That is the best in the NHL, and we're all tied at 2. The 2-0 lead is gone for the Canucks. Here's Lyndon Bay in traffic, has the puck stripped, and it's moved quickly to Byron. Byron drops it off for Diaz. Diaz stepping up to the plate, can't get around Alex Sidler. Johnny Gaudreau with the goal. That is his 7th of the season. Hudler with an assist. Here's Byron out of the corner. All Byron working against Richardson. Engelland draws the 2nd assist on that marker. New game. 2 desperate teams. Lyndon Bay along the boards, just gets that puck outside the line, and now it hops into the Vancouver bench. So there are exactly 12 minutes to go, and Johnny Gaudreau has made it 2-2 on Hockey Night in Canada.
Johnny Gaudreau evens things up here in Vancouver, and it's been a long run of sustained excellent offensive hockey. At Boston College, he was dynamic, winning national championships, winning the Hobey Baker. He was unstoppable at that level, and you wonder, would that translate to the NHL? Is he big enough? Is he quick enough? Doesn't really matter, because he's got the kind of hands that you cannot teach, and the NHL is finding out you cannot defend either. And he's turned into one of the go-to guys for the Calgary Flames here in his rookie year, currently 2nd in all rookie scoring.
Behind Philip Forsberg, who scored another goal tonight in a wild one. Forsberg of the Nashville Predators. Here's Daniel Sedin, puts it up ahead for Bata, gives chase, but the Flames quickly turn it back out. Up to center, Boma in traffic, and it ends up on the stick of Edler. Edler at center sends it in. Hiller, look out, he almost gave the puck away, but Bonino tries to walk into the corner and does. Backhander, loose puck, and it's skated away by Brody, but we have a penalty right in front of the Calgary net. It is going to be a holding call.
It was Matt Stajan, I think, on Bonino, right in front. And the power play, which has struggled mightily the last several games, even though they got one tonight, goes to work here in a tie game in the third with the opportunity to give the Canucks the lead. It was the turnover behind the net right there. Matt Stajan almost tackles.
Yeah, that's holding.
Nick Bonino from behind.
Well, the guys in the studio talked about Vancouver's struggling power play, and they need one here right now because this game has started to turn in Calgary's favor, storming back from a 2-goal deficit. Vancouver 1 for 3 tonight with a man advantage, 5 shots total on those 3 attempts. And a face-off win for Calgary right off the bat allows them to send it all the way down the ice. Up ahead for Daniel Sedin, near side for Henrik. Poked away by Brody and again sent back. Here's Edler again. Edler starts out, gets to center. He'll drop it off for Henrik. Daniel's got a point tonight. Henrik does not. He's got the puck though. Here's Henrik all the way around the edge. He goes and he'll set up on the half boards. The captain being watched by Mark Giordano and Marcus Granlund. Daniel walks out, goes back to Edler. Edler to Bourbon, quick shot on the screen right in front by Burrows. Here's Daniel, pulls it off the board. Into the corner for Henrik. Henrik spins back the other way. In for Daniel, tries to turn and shoot, cannot, and Granlund fires it down the ice. 1 minute gone in the power play.
Nice job by Marcus Granlund. Good strong stick, taking that puck away from Sedin, getting it clear.
Strong hockey IQ on that rookie. Let's run in the family.
Pretty good. Brother in Minnesota is a pretty good player.
Not bad. Second power play unit on the ice for the Canucks. Near side for Higgins, goes across base, shoots, blocked right in front by Russell. Second attempt, and that's blocked 2. What a chance there for Linden Bay. Jars it free, and this one comes to the line and bounces over the stick of Weber. Look out, here comes Monahan. Joe Monahan in, stuck by Miller. Huge save, they needed that. Quickly turned back, up the center ice. Bonino gives it up to Bay. He'll step in there, try to settle it in for Bieksa. Tipped in by Bay. Gets the puck back, and he can't get a shot. There's Mathias with a chance as the puck rolled right to him. Power play is over. Canucks with more pressure. There's a shot from Bieksa. Ryan Miller with a huge save there to keep it tied. Richardson chopping at it as Diaz. Pulled into the corner by Mathias, trying to get it back to Sabisa, and it's over his stick and down the ice, where this will be icing against the Flames. Well, in a 2-2 game, time now to take a break and look at our Budweiser red light scoreboard on another busy Saturday night. The LA Kings, that was a matinee. Montreal Canadiens scored 4 straight against Ottawa. Look at the Philadelphia Flyers, 7 goals in Toronto tonight. Other results around the league, only one other game still going. This is one of 2 still underway this Saturday, last Saturday before Christmas. Here's Henrik now, in behind the net. Daniel puts it back to the line. This is Edler. Edler's wrist shot. That's going nowhere.
There's just nothing to shoot at. He's trying to change the angle, trying to get past Glencross, but could not.
Here comes the guy who has tied the game. Goudreau into traffic. They managed to get it to Josh Juris. Turns and puts it towards the net. Onto the inboards, which met by Richardson. Gary Hoodler, the veteran member of this young line. Bob Hartley telling us that he's got a father-son relationship with Goodrow, and whatever, it's working.
We saw some tough love in this game when Higgler got on Goodrow on the power play, but we also saw the chemistry of that pass and goal here to tie things up in the third.
Bieksa with some time is skated out, gets to the center. Bay in his backhand does the rest. 7.5 minutes to go. 2-2. Calgary and Vancouver. Here's Russell. Waits for things to set up in front of him, and here is Engelland. And now on the move, here comes Byron. Byron drops it off for Raymond. His shot goes off the stick of Bonino and up and over the net. Russell. And the Flames keep it in. Byron trying to throw it out in front of the net as he was punished there by Spiza. Back of the center, here comes Lyndon Bay, back and forth with Higgins. Cuts to the middle, spins it back, almost on Bonino. His shot up high, almost handcuffed Hiller, but he snaps that lever and hangs on. Jonas Hiller with a save at one end, and how about Ryan Miller at the other? It's just getting heated up here. Almost here, the 2015 NHL Bridgestone Winter Classic, January 1st on CBC from Nationals Park in Washington, the Blackhawks and the Caps. Coverage gets underway at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 a.m. Pacific, right here on CBC.
Vancouver on the power play, but best chance goes to the Calgary Flames and Sean Monahan on a breakaway. We're going to go backhand, forehand, and Ryan Miller, who has struggled as of late, needed to make a big save, keep his team in it, and he does. Keep it a tie game at 2 against Sean Monahan on the shorthanded break.
The Sedin line got an attacking zone face-off, but the Flames control the puck. And around to center, TJ Brodie, his pass off the stick of Sejan and into the zone. Tanev pushed off the puck, but he gets a little help there from Edler. Out in front to Verbata, up to Henrik, and they're away. Daniel turns back, flips it up in the air over the head of TJ Brodie. Settles that down, and Calgary quickly in transition. Here is Mark Giordano. Into the middle. Boma can't get it deep, and now the Canucks D will come back the other way. Tanev up the boards. Dorsett sweeps it in. Brodie puts it up the boards again, where it's held in there momentarily by Bieksa. Now near side, this is David Jones. Jones towards the net, a snapper that Miller handled. Glencross. Curtis Glencross off the boards. Chris Russell. Derek Engelland. And that one is up and out of play. And that faceoff's coming outside the blue line. We got ourselves a tie game with 5:42 to go on Hockey Night in Canada.
May not sound right, but it's believed in the history of Calgary Flames coaches. Bob Hartley is the only one ever to receive an extension, and he got his with his team on a 6-game losing streak that reached 7 the day after the announcement. That's Brad Treliving, the general manager of the team, next to Brian Burke. Hartley was in that often unsafe spot of not being the GM's guy, but he is now. Clearly, Treliving came to the judgment that Hartley's got as much out of this team as anyone could, even if the Flames had been sliding, and now they've got a chance tonight to give Hartley a reason to celebrate the extension.
Guy picked up his 400th career win recently. Said about this slump, I've never questioned the commitment of this group. Never put it in doubt. And here they battle back to tie a 2-2 game here with 5:21 to go, and they're pushing back with a Goodrow line again. Hoodler didn't see anything he liked, so he sends it back to his D, and they'll take over from there. Near side now for Johnny Goodrow. Steps in, winds, fires a shot that's off the shin pads there of Stanton and into the corner. Ryan Stanton with a long feed all the way down the ice. And this is coming back into the Canucks zone, Mike. Well, Ralphie wants a Red Ryder BB gun, but can he convince his parents, his teacher, and Santa that he won't shoot his eye out? Catch the family comedy A Christmas Story, Monday night at 8 on CBC. Somebody's going to get a lump of coal tonight, Mike.
I think at this point they're both thinking maybe get one, worry about the 2 in extra time. Well, high stick there by Bieksa.
Uh-oh.
Yep, he got Paul Byron.
So a power play for the Calgary Flames inside 5 minutes remaining in regulation.
Just 2, as Byron's not bleeding. Popped his visor up. FBX right here, looking for it. Oh, trying to lift the stick, misses it, gets it right under the visor. And no doubt about that. You don't think the management group of Vancouver's into this one? Lawrence Gilman, Jim Benning, shake their head and hope for a kill.
They're 0 for 2 tonight with a man advantage, and Juris is going to get waved to the circle, replaced by the veteran Jiri Hudler. And they control off the draw. Again, into the corner they go. Here's Goodrow trying to receive that pass, pulled down by Brody. Brody goes back up top for Mark Giordano. Giordano, Hudler back and forth, wrist shot, knocked down in front by Edler. Here's Goodrow again, spinning, gets it away. Out in front there is Hudler on a backhand, can't get it towards the net. Tanev roughs out his man, Goodrow in the corner. Edler, strong in the puck, sends it down. 30 seconds gone on the Calgary power play. Good pressure there off the face-off win. Pass goes off the stick of Curtis Lindros, and they're going to have to go chase this one.
Almost a third too many there for Calgary as the Canucks benches up in arms again.
They've had 2 tonight after none this season coming into action this evening. Russell and Wideman are out there along the points now. Wideman with 10 goals on the season. 4 of them in this situation. Here's Monahan, sweeps it, that one can't get it to go towards the net, and it's cleared by the Canucks. Taylor way out of his net, leaves it for Chris Russell. Here's Russell. First pass to Goodrow, doesn't click, back out to center they go. Half a minute to go in this Calgary power play. Neither team has looked strong with the man advantage this evening. Here's a chance momentarily there by Hudler. Edler to Bonino. Bonino makes the feed up to Dorsett. Dorsett stops up and then just does the proof thing and just stuffs it into the corner. 10 seconds to go on the penalty kill for the Vancouver Canucks. Now it's a chance for Mathias. Sean Mathias shoots! And a laser that just goes over the top corner. Up and out of play. Good chance there for Sean Mathias.
And Kevin Bieksa happy to get out of the box. It's a very lonely place to be. Tie game late in the third. You are just hoping your guys bail you out. Kevin Bieksa looking worried, watching the clock, and making sure that his guys do the job. And again, there you see Trey Leving and Burke. They're right into the game as well. It's almost harder to watch when you have no say.
Now a face-off win by the Canucks, brought back to Weber. His drive, handled by Hiller. Rebound goes into the corner. Calgary forces that puck out of the zone, but Richardson puts it right back in there. Mathias on his horse, pokes it away from Giordano. Spinned in front for Richardson, and his shot off the stick of Stajan and out of play. One last look at the Budweiser red light scoreboard. The Islanders keep getting it done.
Oh my goodness, Islanders over Tampa as well. And Pittsburgh's rolling along.
They certainly are. The Rangers in a shootout against the Carolina Hurricanes, who are making teams work for it these days. Here there's 2 minutes and 22 seconds to go in regulation. Offensive zone draw for the Sedin line. Josh Juris out there against Henrik Sedin, and he wins it. Robata knocks that puck down and sends it back in. Here's Brody over to Giordano. And back outside the blue. Henrik has it bounce off his stick. Daniels in there as well along the sideboards. Here's Robata, turns and shoots. Blocked right in front of him by Giordano. Edler across to Tanev. Waiting for it behind the net is Daniel. Nice little move there by Giordano to strip up the puck before he even knew it was gone. Keep in mind, this 7-game losing streak for Calgary,
Yes.
all in regulation. They have not picked up one single point.
And in today's NHL, that's hard to do. not get to overtime, not get to a shootout. That's when you really fall in the standings. You don't pick up any of those extra points for losses.
Vancouver, they are 0-4-1, so they've only picked up 1 point in the last 5.
Well, I think both teams realize the importance of this game and the importance of just trying to feel good prior to that Christmas break. Both teams play one more time, and I don't know how many times we heard it today, Dave. We just got to get some wins out of these last couple before the Christmas break.
Against the division rival as well. Both teams have very good records against Pacific Division opponents so far. Canucks battling for this puck in the offensive zone. To the line, and Bieksa has stepped up, so it comes out to center. Fired in there. Around the boards it goes. Chris Russell chops at it. Gets a little help there, and now it's Byron. Byron trying to get away. He puts it in. 1 minute to go in regulation. Bieksa over to Stanton out of the corner. They'll flip it up. Joe Colborne now scoops up the puck and goes to the captain. Near side now for TJ Brody. He's dangerous. Brody steps in, shoots, and that's blocked by Stanton. Gets his own rebound. Walks back to the point. Sends it back for Glenn Cross. Curtis Glenn Cross trying to work off the boards, but Burrows did a good job with him, and he softly lifts it down the ice, and this is not enough for icing with 26 seconds to go. Brody to Giordano.
Checking the clock.
Yeah, we want a point here, right?
We need one. He's going to take it.
The fans are giving it to them. That's exactly what they're doing. They're taking a point here and take their chances with overtime, which is happening tonight in Vancouver. So Jonas Hiller and Ryan Miller both made key saves, and Johnny Gaudreau with a big third period goal. The Flames have their first single point in 8 games. They'll go for a second in OT. Back in Rogers Arena, Dave Randorf, Mike Johnson, and Scott Oak for this final Saturday night prior to Christmas, and we are going to overtime. The Calgary Flames and Vancouver Canucks tied up at 2. Vancouver led 2-0. Flames have battled back. A couple of big stops by both goalies, including Ryan Miller on a breakaway on Sean Monahan. He will speak to Scott Oak, by the way, in our post-game show, so stay tuned for that. But first, we've got this to decide. 4-on-4 overtime. 2 teams. We're going to bump some long slumps here. And right away, the Flames control the puck off the draw. Here is Giordano. Mark Giordano off the left side, snaps the shot off the blocker of Miller and bounces right to Vancouver. Now to the middle they come. It's the Sedins in a 2-on-1. Henrik in, Cannon, shoots, scores! The Vancouver Canucks take care of business early, 18 seconds into overtime. They snap a 5-game losing streak, and for the Flames, it is now 8 straight losses. Well, that'll feel better for the Vancouver Canucks.
Pretty good birthday present for Chris Tanev. OT winner, breaking a 5-game losing streak, and that didn't take long. Vancouver going with, we'll give you a low-quality chance in exchange for a high-quality chance. And the Sedins, Tanev jumps up, and he ends up with a breakaway for all intents and purposes and beats Jonas Hiller blocker side. And the Canucks get that win they've been searching for. There's the shot that goes wide. And now the Sedins are off the races. Giordano trying to get back. And it's Tanev, the trailer, right down the middle. Giordano on the back check. Nobody picks up Chris Tanev. Nice job settling this rolling puck, corralling it, and beating Jonas Hiller. Blocker side inside the post. And the Canucks have needed a win, and they get one in dramatic fashion in overtime. Chris Tanev. And look at the GM box on edge. Lawrence Gilman, fist pump. Jim Benny, they're happy. And the Canucks are off the schneid with a big win in overtime, courtesy of Chris Tanev.
Happy birthday, Merry Christmas, call it whatever you want. The Vancouver Canucks walk out of here with 2 points after a pretty good overtime win here. As they announce the 3 stars in the building, and we'll tell you who they are going to be. Chris Tanev, of course, got to give the birthday boy an overtime winner. He is the first star. Johnny Gaudreau again was dancing around tonight, creating opportunities. He scored the goal that ultimately forced overtime, and Daniel Sedin will pick up the 3rd star tonight in a 3-2 overtime win for the Canucks of the Calgary Flames, who have now lost 8 in a row. George and the panel have the postgame show coming up. Good night from Vancouver.